Great. So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining Sierra Club, Chispa, Arizona, and Arizona AA NHPI advocates for the release of the 2025 Environmental Report Card for the Arizona Legislature and Governor. My name is Sandy Barr. I'm the director for Sierra Club's Grand Canyon chapter, which is the Arizona chapter, and I do a lot of our advocacy work at the Arizona Legislature. I use she, her pronouns, and I live on the traditional lands of the Acoma, Atom, and Pipash. Also here today is Vanya Guevara, Advocacy and Political Director for Chispa, Arizona, Alondra Morales, Climate Justice Program Coordinator at Arizona AA NHPI Advocates. And I will give some introductory remarks, a few highlights, and then turn it over to Vanya, and then she'll pass it to Alondra. I'll then just do a quick wrap up and we'll be happy to take your questions, again, either via the Q&A or raise your hand and we'll unmute you. So the 166th day 2025 Arizona legislative session saw a lot of recycled bad public policy when it comes to environmental protection, especially when you look at water. There's no way we could grade legislators on all of the bad bills that they introduced and moved. However, we tried to use a representative sample of the various areas, focusing in on water, energy, democracy, and environmental protection. This year, Representative Gail Griffin again introduced a large number of water bills to get around or weaken assured water supply requirements for subdivisions and to weaken any groundwater protections in our newest active management areas, that's Douglas and Wilcox. So really trying to undermine groundwater protection. And as has been the case for most of the last decade, no bill for protecting rural water advanced. In fact, again, the respective committee chairs, Senator Shope and Representative Griffin, would not even hear a bill that the governor and the Democratic leadership had put forward. Legislators did manage to agree on a bill regarding ag to urban. That was Senate Bill 1611. That garnered some support from Democrats and the governor, but overall, it still is not a bill to advance good groundwater policy because the main intent of the bill is to get around the physical availability requirements for assured water supply. And of course, in doing so, it will help continue to promote urban sprawl style development, which is hardly sustainable. That bill also relies on the Central Arizona Groundwater Replenishment District, an entity that does not have enough water to provide replenishment for this additional development. So we have a lot of concerns about it relative to sustainability. Beyond water, legislators loaded up the calendars with harmful energy bills, mostly targeting wind and solar and seeking to make it easier for coal, gas, and nuclear power. Those bills either died in one house or the other or were vetoed by Governor Katie Hobbs. The exceptions to that were a couple of really bad utility bills, including one to reduce debt in old power plants, but allow the utilities to sell them rather than retire them. House Bill 2679 was a real blow to efforts to hold utilities accountable and facilitate a just and equitable transition from coal to clean energy. The governor also signed a bill to give utilities liability relief for fires sparked by their infrastructure. While that bill, House Bill 2201, was improved by a substantial Senate amendment, it still is a big gift to the monopoly electric utilities. Legislators referred 3 ballot measures this session, one of which related to transportation. SCR 1004 prohibits any kind of mandatory measuring of vehicle miles traveled or any fees based on vehicle miles traveled. This has implications relative to travel reduction programs and our air quality plans, and it will be on the ballot in 2026. The budget didn't deliver big for environmental protection, but it didn't include any major poison pills either. And it did provide funding for water quality work, staff at the Arizona Department of Water Resources, some dollars for the State Parks Heritage Fund, and an appropriation for cleaning up a mine. It also did not include a bunch of money for water augmentation outside of Arizona. Luckily, those dollars were diverted to more beneficial projects, such as the ones I just mentioned. It is impossible to really score the legislature on what it didn't do. But again, it's clear as a body, the legislature is failing to address climate and clean energy, water, environmental justice, and a host of other important issues to protect our health and the environment. Now I want to pass it to Vanya.
Thank you, Sandy. Good afternoon, Yetuta. My name is Vanya Guevara, Sandy mentioned, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about our experience as Chiefs of Arizona and our members in our community, what our experience is like at the legislature. So every legislative session, we work diligently and intentionally to ensure that our community feels safe and welcome, because unfortunately, we do hear comments made by some of our elected officials who do the opposite of that. We've been told that we're meant to be seen and not heard when we're sitting in the gallery. We've been asked questions like where we're from, all of which are the opposite of making us feel like it's a safe environment. So we're grateful to some of our state representatives and our partner organizations like AZA and HPI, Sierra Club, who make it a priority to ensure our safety and that we're able to exercise our democratic rights and speak and testify and have meetings about the bills that impact our everyday lives. While we are proud to have introduced proactive legislation and work with legislators who prioritize people and the environment over profits, this legislative session was the worst heartbreak for me personally. We saw how influential corporations like APS are for some of our leadership, both Democrats, not all Democrats, and Republicans. They actually gave monopoly companies unnecessary wins that impact ratepayers, impact our environment. So I want to note and emphasize how important public hearings and public participation is. So please reach out to the governor's office, ask her to meet with you, meet with your legislator, join us for Environmental Lobby Day, because corporate lobbyists and their bot allies are there 24/7. They have two lobbyists for every representative. And unfortunately, it appears like they outnumber us, but with us, with our partner organizations, with our members, we do have a lot of influence. So I just want to remind people who are listening or who have access to share information how important it is to plug in with any of these orgs. There's ways to volunteer, join comités, join committees, and organize so that this upcoming legislative sessions, the bills that are actually really good for us, have a chance to be heard. And so that APS and other monopoly companies have a whole lot less of weight and influence when it comes to making decisions that impact us. And I demand that we get more than a fair chance and more than a shot. We demand that our bills get heard, because we have people in place. We work really hard during the election season. And so it's important, again, for Democrats and Republicans to remember the work that we do, why it's important. And we want access to quality, good, healthy, quality air, clean water for everyone. This should not be a partisan issue. This is how we treat the earth, how it impacts us, and really want to make it a point to have a representation listen to us as stakeholders directly before making decisions. So with that, I will pass it on to Alonga. That's it. Thank
Gracias,
you.
Vania. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Alondra Morales Sanchez. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Climate Justice Coordinator with AZAA and HPI Advocates. And we are here today because the stakes of Arizona's environment, our water security, and the health of our communities could not be higher. As both mentioned by Sandy and Vanya, year after year, we see the same pattern in our state legislature. Recycled bills that fail to meet the needs of everyday Arizonans resurface, while meaningful solution, good common sense bills are blocked or left to die in the committee. These recycled bills keep resurfacing because we continue to allow the same individuals to hold power in the legislature. Once again, it is clear the priorities do not align with the needs of everyday people. I hope this report card can give people a clear understanding of how their legislators are actually voting, so they can choose leaders who finally put them first. Arizona's future depends on strategic, forward-thinking leadership, especially when it comes to allocating our water and environmental resources. We need legislators who are committed to climate resiliency and who take meaningful steps to protect our communities and environment for generations to come. It's not just about politics, it's our shared future. Our legislature has become so politicized that it has failed to move forward with bills that could truly benefit Arizona families. For example, HB 2790, introduced earlier this year, would have strengthened workplace protections for outdoor workers by requiring employees to take measures to prevent heat illness. This is a critical issue in Arizona, where our extreme summer temperatures are deadly. Yet the bill was denied a fair hearing and was left to die. Another bill that I want to highlight is HB 2644, a rainwater harvesting bill designed to encourage Arizonans to capture and reuse rainwater, a practice that saves water, supports sustainability, and reduces the demand on our limited groundwater resources. It was also left to die and never made it to the finish line. These bills are not radical. These bills are pragmatic, forward thinking solutions that would improve the life of Arizonans and help prepare for the future. Yet, because of the partisan gridlock and refusal to prioritize the needs of people over special interests, they were ignored. Meanwhile, we're seeing the same harmful bills resurface again and again. Bills that threaten our environment, weaken protections for our communities, and do nothing to address the real issues we face. This is why we're releasing the legislative report card today. This report card is designed hold to be a tool of transparency and accountability. So I encourage every one of you to take the time to review this report card, look up your legislators, see if their voting record reflects your values and priorities, and use this information to have conversations with your friends and your family, and most importantly, use it as a tool of empowerment at the ballot box. We cannot afford to be complacent. Arizona is at a crossroads. Our state is facing a historic drought, increasing temperatures, and very real threats of water security. These challenges require bold, strategic thinking. Instead, we're seeing short sighted policies that get in the way. We need leadership that reflects our values and priorities of the people of Arizona. We need lawmakers who will stand up for clean water, for healthy communities, for worker protections, and for a thriving future for our children and our grandchildren. Our hope is that this report card empowers you. It's not just a document, it can be used as a roadmap for change. By using it, sharing it, and voting with intention, we can shift the balance of power in the legislature and finally put the people of Arizona first. It's not a partisan issue. This is about ensuring that Arizona remains a place where people can live, work, and thrive. Your voice matters. Get informed, get involved, review the report card, share it widely, and let's work together to build a stronger and healthier Arizona. And I will go ahead and pass it back to Sandy.
Thank you so much, Alondra, and thank you, Vanya, both for your very dead-on words. And we do hope that folks will take a look at the report card and how legislators did, and let them know that you noticed how they scored on it, and ask them about it. Ask if they did well, tell them great and thank you. And if they didn't, ask them what they're going to do better. Before we open it up for questions, I just wanted to give kind of a quick snapshot of how legislators did. There were two senators who earned an A plus on the report card. And what that means is they voted pro-environment in all of the bills that we scored, and also that they didn't miss any votes. And we do include missed votes in this report card. I will say that that does skew things a little bit for someone who missed a fair number of votes, but we want to make sure that we also recognize when people show up. No one in the House got an A plus. That is partly because the House Democrats left to boycott that original House budget, and that means they missed the vote on SCR 1004. So there weren't any A pluses. There were 5 senators and 11 representatives who earned an A on the report card, however. And unfortunately, as has been the case for a couple of years now, the entire Republican caucus did get failing grades on the report card, with a number of the legislators voting the wrong way on every single bill. So that was, again, disappointing, and we would like to see a shift in that. Governor Katie Hobbs her grade did drop this year to a C plus, and while she vetoed a number of really harmful bills, which we appreciate immensely, her score was affected significantly by those utility bills, House Bill 2679 especially, and then 2201. So that affected her score again significantly. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. We have been doing this report card for a while. There's a way to kind of track some of the people over time, especially those people who bounce back and forth between both houses. And there are past report cards on our archives page if people want to see that. This report card is posted in both English and Spanish, and we will be sending out a news release with the links to the full report card in both languages. So let's go ahead. Let me stop the recording.